Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. Welcome to Floating in Dreams. Welcome to my end of year favorites video. This is going to be my top 3 in every single category for the year of 2021. All of the products I will be featuring here today are products I tried for the first time this year or that were released this year. So let's just get started. Welcome to everyone watching this video, whether you're new here or whether you've been around for a while. Let me introduce myself. My name is Maaike. Welcome to Floating in Dreams. This is my little corner of the internet where I like to chat about makeup and fashion related topics. My favorite thing to talk about is eyeshadow palettes. I love reviewing Essence and Catrice products, and I'm a YouTuber who likes to keep it real. So we're filming in natural lighting as much as we can. We're not going into the whole like studio lighting shenanigans that's just going to warp what everything looks like. We're gonna try and make things wearable for every day, no matter how crazy the color story of your eyeshadow palette might be. And I love trying to get the use out of my products, which is why everything I'm showing you today are tried and true, apart from one little thing. And you will see pan in some of these products, there's actual wear, and some of these products are already used up. Yes, that as well. So as far as favorites go, I think we've got a really good roundup here. But since we've got a lot to chat about, because I've got something to chat about in every category apart from brows and setting spray, I think it's time we get this show on the road. So the way I want to organize this video is that I go through my full face the way I would apply it if I were to do my makeup. And I like to start my face with primer. I don't have any new eyeshadow primers that I tried. I'm still loving the Milani eyeshadow primer. That's what I'm wearing today. And I actually only have a couple of face primers that I tried for the first time this year. And some of these are really affordable. So let me start with the sort of one-off first, and that would be this. This is a mini of the MAC Strobe Cream in Pink Light, and I got this free as a gift with purchase when I placed another order, when I placed an order for a MAC product that you'll be seeing later on. And this I instantly fell in love with. It's a very nice lightweight glowy primer, and this I've already used up, and I actually went and bought a full size of this because I loved it so much. I still have a little travel mini as well, so I'm going to use that up first, but I also have a full size that I bought as a backup because I was like, yes, together with the Glossier Future Dew, this could be one of my favorite glowy primers. And then some more basic primers that I found at the drugstore. Now with these two brands, you're never sure how long they are around, but Essence and Catrice are doing some really lovely things in their primer lines, and they have been doing those for years. However, they discontinue their products left, right, and center. So I'm not even sure if I can still buy this, but this is the Skin Loving Sensitive Primer from Essence. And this is the exact same thing as their hydrating primer, but then without the fragrance. And I also used up that hydrating primer this year as well. So this is again used up. I really liked it. It was very lightweight and really good for my sensitive skin. And Catrice this fall, so I'm pretty sure I can still buy this, but I'm not sure everybody can. But this is their Clean ID Anti-Redness Serum Primer. This did nothing against redness for me personally. It didn't. This primer, however, was a really lovely texture. It was really, it very much reminded me of a just slightly less tacky, grippy version of the Milk Hydro Grip. I would say that this is definitely some sort of like a dupe for that product, and I'm here for it. I'm down. I'm down. The next step in my makeup routine would be foundation, and for foundation, I sadly went the bougie route this year. I was really into trying loads of like lightweight skin tint like products. However, there are a couple of base products that I tried that I really love. Giorgio Armani Neo Nude is what got the love train started. I have this in the shade 1.5. This was a shade I had to order online because they don't do this shade in my country. Why, Giorgio Armani? Why? I don't understand, but it's a lovely, lovely product. I wore it a lot in the summertime. It's very lightweight. This is my kind of foundation. I didn't really go into it over like the fall season because I was trying out all these other things, but this is one I definitely want to go back to. And then two foundations that I did try in the second half of the year that were part of that video that I fell in love with. the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk, a cult classic, and the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder foundation. I'm very curious after that Beauty Skin foundation that she's coming out with, but it seems to be medium coverage, and I'm not all about that medium coverage life. So this may still be my cup of tea, but especially with the Charlotte Tilbury, what I liked about it so much was for a lightweight foundation, because they tend to have a more lightweight texture, they can break up much more easily on your skin. However, this lasted me through a sweaty workout class, and I thought it was amazing for that. It works really well all throughout the day, doesn't transfer. I have mine in the shade Too Fair, which is actually quite a good shade match for me too, so I'm very happy with that. And then we have the Luminous Silk. I have this in shade 3, much better shade match even than the Charlotte Tilbury. This is a really good match for me. And this was so lovely. I was afraid for some reason that it was going to be too heavy, because a lot of raved about foundations that are like cult favorites are medium to full coverage. But this, I don't know, it's like magic in a bottle. If you want your face to look airbrushed, this is what you need. My next step is concealer, and again, I've got two things here that are used up or nearly used up. The one that's used up is the Essence Skin Loving Sensitive Concealer. So they did an entire line with a powder and a concealer and a primer, and I tried all of those products, and guess what? Yes, also that powder is going to come up in a minute. But this concealer was lovely. It reminds me a lot of the coverage that I get from their 16-hour long-lasting concealer that Essence does. But then without the fragrance, which is great. So I really like the coverage this gave. It didn't last a very long time, and I think it only comes in 2 shades. Essence, why? Why Essence? But yeah, it was lovely. I didn't try that many new concealers this year because there were a couple of older ones that were already open that I just wanted to use up. So I definitely focused more so on using up concealers. And I think I've nearly used up 7 concealers this year, which I think is good. KIKO is going to come up next. KIKO Skin Tone Concealer in shade 2. I'm not sure if you can see, but it's really down to the very last bit that's still in here. It actually lay flat for a bit, so now you can't really tell, but when I picked it up this morning, like all of the product had settled down. It was completely white, and then all of the product has settled down here, so there's very little product in here left. I think I can actually use this up before the year is out, and I will be showing you all of my makeup and beauty empties of the year in a video in January. So if you'd like to see what, like all the skincare and body care and makeup that I've used up throughout the year, if you want to see that, I did that video last year and a lot of people liked it. So I thought I could do it again this year. So I've got a lot of beauty trash hiding underneath my bathroom sink at the moment. And then another KIKO concealer, and this sort of, like I said, I didn't try too many new things, and I definitely wanted to make sure that this video focused on things that were new to me in the year. And with concealer, I just kind of struggled because these are like the only new things I really tried and true. But then I was like, I tried some new concealers for some of my full face-off videos throughout the year, and one that really impressed me upon first application was the KIKO concealer that they did in their Precious Rituals collection. And I did a full face of all of these new limited edition products that they came out with. This is the Precious Rituals Hydrating Vegan Concealer in shade 01. I believe it was called something like Ivory or something like that. Perfect shade, very hydrating, and I would repurchase this one already in a heartbeat, but this is even more lovely. And what makes this one very special, I keep showing this in videos, but this doe foot isn't just a normal doe foot, it's actually a little roller, so you can roll on the product, which is actually, it's actually quite smart. I thought it was going to be a gimmick that wouldn't work and it would like jam within within 2 uses, but it didn't. It still works really well, so yeah. I love these 3. Again, 2 of them used up or nearly used up, and this I can't wait to get stuck into. And then we're moving on to powder. I already mentioned that Essence Skin Loving Powder was going to make an appearance here. This I put in a Shop My Stash in December, but since this is the first time in December I'm even wearing makeup, yay for me, the Skin Loving Sensitive Powder isn't quite used up the way I wanted it to, but that means I still have some product left to show you. You can see I've got a massive pan in this. This reminds me a lot of the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder that I also used up this year. that I liked, but I like this one better because it is far more affordable. I'm not sure if they still do this line. If I can still get this, I'm going to buy myself 2 backups of this because this is one of the best powders. Not even best drugstore powder, no, best powder period I have ever found. I have dry skin, so most powders don't really work on me and they look very dry and cakey and crusty. This, lovely, lovely. It's got a bit of a tint, so it's not too flat. It doesn't give you a weird wide cast. And this has just such a lovely finely milled texture. It's lovely. And I feel the same way, even though I think it's slightly less perfect than the Essence, but it's the new Catrice All Matte Shine Control Healthy Look Powder with a natural glow. A mouthful. This is also in a foundation shade, like it comes in a skin tone shade, so I believe they do several shades. This is 100 Natural Fresh Beige. What shade is this in? This is just translucent, the Essence one. So that's supposed to work for more skin tones. But this, as you can see, I've also hit pan on. So this was another product I did put in a Shop My Stash in November. I used it the entire month, and I have to say that this is my new favorite Catrice powder. I used to love their Prime and Fine setting powder, like the white powder, but I don't love it that much anymore ever since they reformulated it. So this one is my powder of choice from Catrice, and the reason why I like it, because the name All Matte might fool you. Their original All Matte formula, I found a little too heavy on my dry skin. I think I actually used one of those up in the past as well, but that's when I didn't really know what powders I loved. But it's in the natural glow factor that this has, because this looks flat matte in the pan, but when you put this on your face, it has this like ambient lighting powder kind of quality to it, where there's just a hint of sheen, and again, it's super finely milled. I just think that the shade of this is just a hair too deep for me, which is why I stopped using it, and I was trying to use up the Essence before the end of the year, because I think this is more the kind of powder I need to use in like the spring summer season, when I have a bit more of a tan and I get a little bit more color to my face. But right now, the Essence one is definitely a good one to use. However, I said there were going to be 3 products, and this is another product that I can't wait to get stuck into, but I have been holding out because I need to purchase another product before I want to try this. Because I have a theory, and that is that the KIKO Radiant Fusion Powder in shade 01 is a dupe for the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Diffuse Light, which is one I used up in the past. I love that powder, but I don't own it anymore because I've had so many other powders to try and use up before I wanted to repurchase that. So now that a new year is upon us, I think that in the next couple of months, I will be repurchasing that Hourglass powder, and I'm going to put it up against this in a Shop My Stash. That's the plan. But this, when I first used it, it instantly reminded me of the finish of the ambient lighting powders from Hourglass, and this comes in a ton of shades. And I love this KIKO Fusion line. I bought it towards the end of 2020, but I didn't really try it until this year. But I haven't put it in a Shop My Stash yet. So this is why it's like, it's not like tried and true. It's not like these two where I've like hit pan and used it a bunch of times. But this is a powder that I think could oust the Hourglass, and that's why it needs to mention in this video today. Now my next step would actually be brows, but as I already mentioned at the start, we're not doing brows because I didn't try anything new that impressed me enough to feature it in this video. I did have a moment with some of those brow waxes at the start of the year, like those brow soapy things. Loved those initially until I started using them for a bit longer, and they just became a bit of a mess. So that's why none of those are in here. And other than that, I mean, I've just been going back to old favorites, so I don't need to mention brows. But I did use bronzers. Again, bronzer, I didn't try that many new things this year, I feel. I definitely went back to a couple of things. I hit pan on a bronzer, which was a goal for 2021, to hit pan on one of my older bronzers. But I did try some new things, and this bronzer by Catrice, the Holiday Skin Luminous Bronzer with macadamia oil in the shade 020 Off to the Island, was lovely. It looks rather deep, but for the summertime, this was an okay shade for me. When I bought this, the lighter shade wasn't in stock because I wanted to make sure I could do a full face of new Catrice products for their video in the fall time. I think it was August time. I just decided to buy it. I think I want to go back and purchase the lighter shade because I think it will be more perfect for me. But this, it was stunning. This is a high-end bronzer at a drugstore price point. Like, this isn't just a good bronzer for the price point, it is a good bronzer, period. I love Catrice's products. They do so many amazing things, and that's why I would like to purchase a lighter shade that's just a bit more perfect for me. This I can really only use at the height of summer because it is a bit too deep for me right now. It does have this like suntan lotion kind of scent to it, which is a bit overpowering at times. So if you're not a fan of scented makeup, then this may not be your thing. But this very much reminds me of the Butter Bronzer from Physicians Formula, only in much slimmer packaging. The shades are better, and it just is a lovely product. Next up, we also need to talk about some bougie purchases. The Christian Dior, what is this thing called? The Forever Natural Bronzer in 04 Tan Bronze. I'm so glad I went to store to pick this up, because if I had bought this online, I would have just bought shade 1, because that's what I usually am in most bronzers. But I went with shade 4. Why? Because it's not just a light shade, it's also a bronzer with a cool undertone, without it being a contour. So for my skin tone, this was just the perfect match. And I remember like swatching some of these in store when I bought it, and I went with this shade, and I'm so happy I did, because this is perfect. It looks, again, it looks a little dark in the pan perhaps, but it works magic if you just use a stipple brush like I do, a light hand. It's all you need, and it's a really good bronzer. Can we just, I can't stop raving about this bronzer, okay, you guys? This is the KIKO Flawless Fusion bronzer in shade 01. How does it open? This is perfect for me right now. Like this, again, I put this in a Shop My Stash last month, and I confirmed for myself how much I actually love this product. Like, this product is, it's quite possibly one of my favorite all-time bronzers. And now that I have this, I'm like, there are so many drugstore price bronzers that retail for a similar price point as this, that I'm like, would I still want to keep the Maybelline? Do I still want to keep this one? Like, do I still want that one? I'm not entirely sure, because I now have this. I now have this, and between the two, winter shade, summer shade. I could just have these two bronzers for the rest of my life and I'd be happy. A category I very much struggled finding like my top 3 favorites in, highlighter, because that would be the next step. I think I've tried like 3 highlighters all year. Like, highlighter was not the thing I was buying in 2021, okay? I just wasn't. At the start of the year, I got myself a set of the KALEIDOS Space Age highlighters. That new multi-chrome one that they're doing is very much tempting me. I actually already built a card on their website that I hope to purchase in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, that's, if it stays in stock, I may just pick it up. My favorite of the ones that I tried that I didn't expect at first was Diamond Dasher. So Diamond Dasher is sadly discontinued, but I liked all of these. I actually did a video over the summertime where I showcased all of these that I have on my face, as well as swatches so you could see them on. Diamond Dasher is one of the more glittery highlighters, and if you told me a couple years ago that in 2021 I would put a glittery highlight in my all-time favorite products of the year, I probably would have told you you were crazy. But this is stunning on the cheeks. It's very sort of got an iridescent base, like, so the base itself doesn't really show up, but it just leaves this really nice sheen with a bit of sparkle. And it was just really pretty. So I really liked Diamond Dasher, and it was definitely one of their more wearable shades. So why they did away with this one, I don't understand. But they seem to be going more like the multi-chrome route, that's for sure. And then well, this is not multi-chrome, but it's duochrome, but a highlighter that very much surprised me is this. And this is the Appuy Juicy Pang Highlighter, Jelly Beam Highlighter in number 1. And this, I'm not sure the camera is going to pick up on this. Oh, there you can see it a little bit. Can you see that shift? So this looks, depending on how the light hits it, this looks like a boring champagne highlight, but it has a pinky to fuchsia pink flash. And it is like that Super Shock highlighter kind of texture, so it is a cream to powder that is best applied with a sponge. But it was lovely, and it's one of the best highlighters I tried all year for sure. And it is a little different from other things that I have going on in my collection, so I do really appreciate that. And something that kind of fuses those two products together, a creamy highlight with a bit of glitter, was one of my favorite things that I tried at the start of the year. And that was the Fenty Beauty Diamond Balm in How Many Carats. This I bought in a little set of Sephora with their fussy lip balm, because I actually wanted to try the lip balm and was like, well, I'll get a mini of the highlighter, I can at least try it. But I had not expected to like this at all, because this highlighter is a creamy, sort of like almost like skin gloss that's fully transparent, that leaves a glass-like finish, but then it also has sparkle. Again, best applied with a sponge in my opinion, for a more natural, not too intense vibe. It's sort of like these two products went and had a baby. Blush. Now, I didn't try that many bronzers or highlighters or concealers all year, but the product I was very much into was blush. Blush was my thing this year. I bought a ton, I tried a ton, and I've got a couple of things to share with you. And I've rekindled, well, is it really rekindling if you never really loved them to begin with? But I rediscovered MAC blushes. I know MAC was like the golden standard of all things blush for a while, and I just never got the hype. I tried all of the popular shades. I think I owned Melba at some point. I definitely tried Warm Soul. I ended up not loving any of them, really. So I was like, if you've seen any of my recent declutters, I actually did away with all of my MAC blushes over the years. And I sort of hung on to them because it was MAC and because I wanted to love them, but I didn't really. And then they did this. Actually, it started for me with the Glow Play blushes, but in the end, I'm getting more use out of this, which is the Extra Dimension. This was from their Black Cherry Blossom collection, and this is in the shade Dilly Dolly. And this, I'm not sure if you can hear the rain. If the video has gotten super dark, it's because it's suddenly raining and it's December. And if it's raining in December, you know you've got zero lighting, but I hope you can still appreciate this blush. It's like a very light, bright pink, but with a gold flash. It's very, very fair. But this, in the springtime, is absolutely stunning. I really, really like this. Another blush that I really discovered this year, thanks to Kelly Gooch, who kept raving about the Bare Minerals Bronzer in Kiss of Pink. When these finally came to the Netherlands, I snatched one up from Douglas straight away. I think these didn't launch until the summertime. And this is such a great, like, warm pink. If you look at this in the pan, you look at it and you go like, that's gonna do absolutely nothing. But you put this on your cheeks and it looks stunning. It's so, so pretty, and it's just a really lovely product. But I think the biggest splurge on the blush front that I did this year, Miss Pat. So this is her Divine Blush in the shade Divine Rose. That's what it's called. And I don't like I like the look of the packaging, but I don't like this little clasp because it's a little tough to open. But from the imprint to the product to the texture to the shade, I mean, I have so many mauve tone blushes that if you saw my blush collection that went live last Sunday, I'll leave a link in the description box down below. If you've seen that and you know I own this shade a million times over. So did I need this? Of course not. Do I love it? With my whole heart. And finally, I have another cheat category for you because 2021 definitely saw a couple of changes in my makeup routine. Can you guess what I wanted to feature next? Some of my favorite liquid products. So I've got a favorite liquid bronzer, a favorite liquid blush, and a favorite liquid highlight. I also like some cream blush, but I really wanted to limit myself to just 3, and since it's just something I'm just dabbling into, I don't feel I've tried enough to really be labeling it like this is my favorite cream product of the year. So I did do a video with my top 10 favorite like liquid and cream face products, so that includes bronzer, blush, and highlight. So some of those newer cream products are also in there, so I'll make sure to link that in the description box down below. We've got a nice little trio here. I don't think I would necessarily use them together, but a product that really impressed me is this liquid bronzer from Made by Mitchell. I bought this and one of his liquid blushes, and the blush was far too intense for me. It's just way too much pigment for my liking, but this, and it's to do with the shade. Can you see how light this is? Like if you are pale, if you are like me, a fellow snow angel, then this is the bronzer for you if you want to try a liquid bronzer, because this is great. This is in the shade Hello There. It's very sort of like a cool toned. Most people, this would probably be a contour. Just saying. And then for liquid blush, you guys know, I just love these. The Juicy Peng Blusher by Apio. So I showed you their highlighter from that line, but they also do this really lovely liquid blusher. This is in the shade Strawberry, which was my favorite shade. I bought 2 of these. I've been telling you how much I want to try more of these. So I'm waiting for Yes Style to have a bit of a good stock. And then like sometime in the next year, I'm going to place myself a nice little order with Yes Style again and buy some more of these because they have so many lovely shades. And this is just my favorite liquid blush that I've tried all year. And then for liquid highlight, I'm so happy I managed to get my hands on it. But this is the Rare Beauty liquid highlighter in the shade Mesmerize. And I think Rare Beauty launched over the summertime here, and then I went to Paris in August. And a lot of the products were actually out of stock at the time, but because it was a new brand and I didn't really know what their textures were like, I was like, if they have testers, I can at least swatch it and see what I like. And then if something isn't there, I can always get it online later. So that's what I did with this one, because this shade wasn't in stock. They did have the very icy white highlighter, like pinky sort of vibe. But I'm not really liking those, even though I'm very fair skinned. Very often, brands seem to think that if you have fair skin, that highlighter wise, all you want is like an icy pink. But I really like peachy tones on me. And very often peachy tones are made for deeper skin tones, more olive leaning skin tones that are far, far deeper than I have. However, this is light enough, it's fair enough, it's got a peachy undertone, and the formula of this is amazing. So that's why the Rare Beauty and Mesmerize had to have a mention. So I normally don't even feature this category in videos like this, but I actually have really gone hard for some cream and liquid shadows because they're just very quick and easy. And I had to do quite a bit of traveling for work this year. And rather than bringing an entire eyeshadow palette, if I take 1 cream or 1 liquid shadow and I need to do an overnight stay, it's like this like really small dinky packaging and I don't have to bring an entire palette, and it still looks put enough together for work. So that's why I sort of fell in love with these things. A bit of an odd one out, but I wanted to give this a mention because I think these are so good and I'm actually hoping that I can buy like 1 or 2 more. But it's the Lethal Cosmetics Liquid Multi-Chrome eyeshadows that they launched over the summertime. I think that's when it came out. This is in the shade Payload. And this was not a shade I was looking to get. I actually wanted one that was out of stock. But I was going to place an order and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try it. So I bought 2 shades to try. And I did wear these also already in a video. I think I already reviewed this as well. And this was so lovely. I wore this as liner. And it was stunning. Essence also released some liquid eyeshadows that were multi-chromes, but those didn't really stay put, sadly. They creased really badly, but this stayed put all day, no problems. And is this a cream? Is it a powder? Who can tell? The Holika, what is this thing called? I don't know. It's an eyeshadow and it's in Moon Flash. That's what it's called. And it is, I'm not sure if I can show you this very well. It's got this little stopper. It looks like a bit like a ColourPop Super Shock. That's what it reminds me of the most. But it's far more flaky and glittery. But this is one of the most high shine eyeshadows I have ever tried. Like this, I don't know what happens to it. Plus it stays put all day. It's not like, it looks really glittery and yummy and glistening on the lids, but it doesn't have the same sort of like logistics behind it as applying a pressed glitter or a liquid glitter. Like there's no fallout, these stay put all day. And I bought this of Yes Style and I really, really liked it. So I had to give it a mention. And then actually one of the very few products that I'm actually wearing on my face right now is this little combo. So this was one of my discoveries this year, and it's based around this H&M Beauty cream shadow. So I did a full face of H&M Beauty. I knew I wanted to do that this year, and I just fell in love hard with this cream eyeshadow in Dauphine Truffle, which is like the perfect taupey cream shadow. And it's a satin finish, so it's not super shiny. And what I've been loving is using this as a base layer. So what I do, I just put my finger in there, just tap it on, and then I take a fluffy blending brush and I just sort of like go around the edges first, and then I just make sure I have an even coverage everywhere. And then what I like to do, this is a product I already owned, but I've really fallen in love with this shade in particular of the ColourPop Super Shock shadows. And this is in the shade Frog. We all know about my love affair with Ritz. Ritz is my favorite to wear by itself. But something happens when you put Dauphine Truffle on and then you put this. This is like Ritz but with a blue flash. It's like the perfect cool toned eye. And it takes literally 2 seconds to put it together. And right now with my bangs, you probably can't really tell what's going on my eyes, which is why I went with more of a lip today, because I think with the bangs I need to go with more of a lip. What do you think? And since I want to end you on eyeshadow palettes, we're going to do lips first. And I have 3 bullet lipsticks that I tried this year. Again, I haven't really tried that many lipsticks this year, mainly Essence and Catrice stuff, because I always review their new lines in case you didn't know. But I just really fell in love with my Lisa Eldridge lipsticks once I started trying those. And it's pretty much all I wear. I'm currently wearing one of her newer shades. This is her True Velvet in Cinnabar, in case you were wondering. But earlier in the year, she did a restock of some of her luxuriously lucent colors and came out with new shades. And the shade Kitten Mischief, which was a shade that I didn't think I'd like, because I don't like peachy nudes on me at all. Like, me and peachy nudes, we don't go together. But this, I wore so much. Like, there was like a solid month where all I wanted to wear was this lipstick. So it had to go into a favorites. Still love the True Velvets, not gonna lie. Still love this, still love this. But the luxuriously lucent lipsticks from Lisa Eldridge definitely needed a shout out. And then we're gonna get bougie for a minute here, and something I'm desperate to buy more of. But I found out that Gucci lipsticks are quite possibly some of the best lipsticks on the planet. I bought one of their Voile lipsticks in the shade The Painted Veil. Again, a peachy shade, who am I? But this is so stunning on. I did go into store in Paris where they do sell the line. I think over here in the Netherlands we can only get it at Bijenkorf in Amsterdam. So I did like seek out a store to first look at the shades to decide. I now have like an 8 shade wish list of which ones I want to get, but these are 40 euros each. So this is going to be something that I'm going to pace myself into getting. Because I definitely want to get one more of the voiles. There's a couple of the satins that I would like to get. I want to try their matte red. Like, especially now that I'm wearing red lipstick again today, I definitely want to try that. Like, ah, stunning. Another product that really impressed me was the H&M matte lipstick. I had tried their cream formula in the past, but their mattes I hadn't tried. And one of the shades I purchased is called London Season, which I think is a perfect shade name. And it's one of the most perfect, like mauve-y nudes I have ever tried. When I tried this on, I was like, you are going to live a long life in my makeup collection because I love shades like this. I really like the texture, really love the formula. It's matte but not drying, so perfect. And like with cheeks, 2021 saw me all of a sudden very much in love with lip gloss. So the liquids and the creams also, that sort of continued into the lip product line as well. I already did a video all about my 10 favorite lip glosses, so that will be in the description box down below. And if I'm not mistaken, I have to be very honest here, I didn't check that video before sitting down to film this one. But if I'm not mistaken, these were the 3 products that were in my top 3. The Fenty Beauty Cream Gloss Bomb in Mauve Wives. Can you see how much use this has? The Tower 28 Milk Jelly Gloss, whatever it's called, in Coconut. And the Rare Beauty, what is this called? I never know what the actual product is called. It's called Mauve. Nearly Mauve. Balm. This is their balm, but it's like a lip gloss kind of product, but this shade is also perfect for me. Very much like, these all are like my lips but better kind of shades. Alright, so next up we're moving into the rest of the eye category, but I had completely forgotten that I did want to share these mascaras with you. I don't, again, try loads of new mascaras all the time. I just have my tried and true, my favorites that I repurchase all the time, but I did really like the Sky High from Maybelline when I tried it. The new Lash Changer mascara from Catrice was lovely. This is in their waterproof version, which I really liked, and I think it's actually really comparable to the Maybelline, to be quite fair. So I think I would pick this up over the Maybelline. I had never really found a Catrice mascara yet that I liked enough by itself, and this is the first one that they do that I like on its own without topping it with something else. This was lovely. And then I have the Catrice Clean ID Full Lash Extra Black Mascara for sensitive eyes. This was lovely, but it dried out really quickly, and I think it was limited edition, which I don't really see the point of, but yeah, these were lovely mascaras. And last but not least, eyeshadow palettes. And I could have made this a separate video. I'm well aware this video is already long enough as it is, but we're just going to soldier on and we're going to talk about eyeshadow palettes as well. Because I love eyeshadow palettes and because I love trying eyeshadow palettes, I have a little bit more than just 3. I've got 3 in every single category, namely 3 drugstore palettes, 3 high-end Sephora brand palettes, or things that are a little easier to get, 3 luxury brand palettes, and 3 indie brand palettes. And that gives you a top 12 of my favorite palettes of the year. I thought that could be a nice roundup. For drugstore, we've got many things because they did a lot of lovely smaller palettes at the drugstore and at a more affordable price point. And I think one of these standout releases this year were these little mini palettes from Essence. This is the Dancing Green, which is my favorite of the bunch. If you like greens, or if you are someone who loves neutrals and you would like to get into wearing colors, but you're a bit too afraid of like, ooh, something as crazy as I'm about to show you in a minute, this is lovely because it's a very neutral green palette. It's still green. We really only get one shade that goes towards a brown, but all the shades just work really, really well. So this Dancing Green palette from Essence, don't sleep on it. It's a gem at the drugstore. And the same goes for the Catrice 5-in-a-Box palettes. Now technically these aren't new launches because they launched last year over here, and the one I'm holding up is also one that I tried last year. So I think I may have featured it in a video last year as well. However, I hadn't tried any of the other ones yet. So I did buy myself the 3 of the original launch and then the 2 new ones we got over the summer season. And I just love these little 5 pans. They're very much Natasha Denona inspired packaging wise. And even though this is my favorite, I know that these only just launched this year in the US. So I thought I could sort of, you know, make it work that way. So this is their modern smoky look. Lovely quality, really lovely textures. This is a really good taupey, cool tone palette without it being too gray. I love it. And then we have the ColourPop Quad in Cream Soda. This I fell in love with when I tried it. It's so basic, so basic, but the quality is amazing. These little 4 pans that ColourPop does are some of the best they've done, like some of the best eyeshadow they've done. So this is definitely one that I would very much recommend if you like your very neutral shades. These are quite affordable, especially if you manage to get them on a sale. And these are just lovely, lovely shades. They do a lot of these in like different renditions. I would recommend only going for the ones in the clear packaging and the ones from their Zodiac line. The ones that I've bought from something like the Animal Crossing, I didn't like as much. Then the next category of palettes are palettes that are a little bit more widely available from retailers such like Sephora, Cult Beauty, Ulta, Beauty Bay. Like those are the places you would have to look for these brands. And that I think these are quite widely available. Like you don't have to go to the brand's website to buy these. And one of the things I tried this year, which is a very unpopular opinion, but it's the Fenty Beauty Snap Shadows. I hadn't tried these, but I did a full face of Fenty Beauty this year, and I just like these. I really like them. I bought 2 of them. I also have the smoky one, which is number 6, to complement this, because this is very light. But this by itself is really lovely too. Yes, the purple isn't the best purple in the world, but these shadows aren't intended to give you the kind of payoff as some of the shades I will be showing you in some of my indie palettes. Those are like boom, pow kind of payoff. This is more natural, wearable for everyday kind of payoff. And as long as that's what you're looking for and you bear that in mind, then these aren't bad shadows. It's just that a lot of people who review makeup online want kapow pigment. But if that's not you, because you work in a profession where you cannot be wearing a lot of makeup, then this is the kind of stuff I would be looking for. This is lovely. You get some lovely taupey shades, and it's a stunning palette. This may come as a little bit of a surprise to you if you know a little bit about my makeup tastes. I love cool tones, and yet I'm going to be putting in a warm tone palette. If there's one palette that blew me away this year, it was the Nabla Analog Cutie palette. This is what the last Cutie palette they launched. It's number 7. And this, I mean, when they released 2 of them, the other one was a blue one, and I love that one too. And I was sort of contemplating which one of the 2 I should put in here, the blue one or this one. But then I was like, you know, when I spotted this, I thought it was going to look horrible on me. I kind of bought it so that I would have the full set, not gonna lie. But that's when products usually impress you, right? When you have 0 expectations. So I went into this thinking, it's warm tones. That's not gonna work on me. This is not gonna look good. And this looked amazing with my brown eyes, my blonde hair. There's just something in the undertone of these shades that they are warm tones that work really, really stunningly on me. It's that sort of like 1970s photography kind of vibe, and I'm down with it. So Nabla's Analog Cutie palette blew my socks off. And another palette that blew my socks off was the Melt Mary Jane palette. I know not a lot of people like this, but there's a bit of a, let's just say, an instruction to this palette. You can't just think, I'm gonna slap these products onto my face and it's gonna be fun. Like, no. These 2 shimmers on the end are incredibly flaky. They need a finger, and you need to layer these. So these 2 shades are meant to be transformer shades for some of the depth that you have going on in the other shimmers. As long as you realize that, then you'll find that even if you are among the palest of the pale people, you get things that are light enough to set up a basic eye. You've got everything you need to do a bronze smoky eye. You got everything you need to do a gray tone smoky eye. And you've got everything you need to do an olive tone smoky eye. Just saying. And then those 2 toppers to layer over everything to just brighten it up just a little bit. That's all you need. Amazing quality. Yes, flaky. Melt shadows aren't the easiest to work with. Not very beginner friendly, unlike the Fenty. But yeah, if you want to put a little bit of work into it and you just want a really good cool tone palette, this was my favorite cool tone launch of the year, not gonna lie. And then we're going into the luxury category here. And these are all palettes I bought this year or that were launched this year. And there's one palette here that's actually a bit of an honorable mention because it is my prediction that it's going to be one of my favorite palettes because I haven't actually used it yet. Can you guess which one it is? But let's just talk about the things I did use first. How can I not? Like, I bought this towards the end of 2020. I didn't get to try it until this year. But the Violette Étendue by Viseart. I've raved about this so much. It was my top favorite purple palette when I ranked all of my purple palettes. I mean, it's purple heaven with cool toned neutrals. That's just what this is. And even these neutrals, even though they look very neutral, they all have like a purpley undertone. It's stunning, and it's great quality. You get everything you need. Do a full-on purple look to still keep it fun for every day. You can use the purples as a pop of color. You just get every single shade you need to do everything, and the quality of this is amazing. So I could not feature this. Yes, the Natasha Denona Retro palette. I had to feature this because this has my name written all over it. I mean, we all know about my love affair with the Naked 3 by now, and this thing, I mean, yes, I'm here for it. I already used this, I did looks with this, and I thought it was amazing. So that's why the Natasha Denona Retro palette had to be mentioned as well. And then the one I haven't used yet, but that I'm predicting will be one of my favorite palettes that came out all year, and that's the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz, because like the Natasha Denona Retro, it just has every shade I love. We get these like taupey shades over here in this corner with a little bit of like plum happening here. Then we've got like some dusty, like rosy shades and some brighter pinks, and we've got some really fun duochrome shades over here. We've got a bit of warmth, so it just has everything you could possibly need. Could have done without that jelly petri dish kind of shade, not gonna lie. But it's a pretty palette, and I know from having tried other Huda Beauty palettes in the past, Desert Dusk is one of my all-time favorite palettes. I really love the Mercury Retrograde. I have a bunch of her smaller 9 pans. I love her formula. And just looking at this color story, I knew instantly the minute this dropped that I needed it in my life, because this, I'm predicting, again, I'm not sure yet, but I'm predicting this will be my replacement for my Urban Decay Naked 3 in terms of favorites that you can still buy and are readily available and have more of an A now kind of formula. Last but not least, we need to talk indie palettes. I love trying a couple of new indie brands every single year, and this year I tried some new palettes. I have to say that the brand I want to talk about first wasn't a new to me brand. I already owned the Michelou Witchcraft palette, but I spotted this in their December sale last year, so it was like a very last minute 2020 purchase. And this is their Fawn palette, which is one I never really hear people talking about. And Michelou is a UK-based indie brand, and this is what that palette looks like. It's got like cool tones over here, but also these two browns are quite cool toned. You have some like more peachy neutrally shades. Then this is very warm toned because it's more of like a reddish leaning browns. And then you just get a couple of like blend shades to blend everything out. I mean, it's lovely. And I've mentioned this many times before, I wasn't a big fan of the Nabla side by side. I feel this palette has the same kind of color story, and these do blend on me. Just saying. And this was one of my favorite neutral palettes that I've tried all year. But a brand that I tried for the first time this year is Alien Cosmetics. They are now rebranding, and they're now known as Unearthly Cosmetics, so that's perhaps good to know. And this palette I thought was going to be discontinued when I picked it up. This is the Serendipity palette, but they redid the packaging, redid the pans, and it's now sold as the Poison Apple palette. Maybe good to know. And this is what I mean with like crazy color stories, because this is the kind of thing I love about indie makeup, is that you get color stories that kind of put you at work, makes your brain work for like, what kind of looks can I do with this? I featured this in a Get Ready With Me where I did my makeup at 6 a.m. in the morning before I headed out to work using this color story. So if you'd like to see that, I can link it down below. But this is crazy good formula. And I also tried their Fairy Frolic, and I actually think I want to try some more. Their Lure palette is definitely still very much drawing me in. And also that Strawberry Milkshake, I also really, really like the look of. So this you can still buy, only not in this gold packaging and with square pans. And then it's called the Poison Apple palette instead of the Serendipity palette, just so you know. But this was lovely. And since I live in the EU, it is always great to feature indie brands that are based in Europe, and the Glam Shop palettes I tried were great. I now am very much looking forward to trying some of their singles, and they were doing a sale over the Christmas time, and I decided to not bite the bullet just yet because I just got some Cleona singles in, and I got a bunch of Sydney Gray singles over the fall time that I haven't even played around with. So I'm like, no, you first need to play with the things you already have, and then you're allowed to go on and move on to the next thing, because else it gets a bit crazy. But this is the Glam Shop green palette. So this is a Polish indie brand. So it's W and then Zielone, which I believe when I typed it into Google Translate, they told me it meant green. Okay, so this, look at this, it's stunning. This is what I wanted ColourPop's Just My Look to be. And their shimmer formula, oh my word, it's so, so good. So this formula is amazing. It's out of this world amazing. Really good mattes, really good shimmers, and they're quite affordable. One of these palettes retails for around 20 euros, which I think is a pretty good deal for a palette. And yeah, it's a really good one. If there's one formula that truly, truly impressed me, it was Glam Shop. So that's it. That's everything I wanted to share with you. My 2021 favorites. I decided to just lump it all together in one giant video, where normally I do these in shorter, smaller videos, but I cannot be editing a video every single day at the moment. So I decided to do it like this. So I really hope you enjoyed watching today's video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more by me. I wish you a very happy new year indeed, and I would like to ask for you to stay tuned for more content in 2022. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye-bye.